In a world grappling with escalating conflicts and widespread instability, understanding the forces driving these crises is paramount. Albert Hardy's Terror Inc. delves into state-sponsored terrorism, exposing the manipulation of fear and hate for political gain. It reveals how regimes, particularly Iran, weaponize narratives and exploit vulnerabilities. Hardy's book urges readers to confront the uncomfortable truth about state-sponsored terrorism. It deconstructs the machinery of hate, showing how regimes sow discord and perpetuate violence. Hardy exposes the puppet masters behind global terror. This is not a book for the faint of heart. It is a call to action for those who value safety and security. Hardy's central argument revolves around the strategic exploitation of fear and hate by certain regimes, with Iran emerging as a primary case study. The book posits that these emotions, potent and primal, are deliberately inflamed and manipulated to serve a calculated purpose. By cultivating an atmosphere of fear and directing it towards carefully curated enemies, regimes like Iran's deflect attention from their own failings and consolidate their grip on power. Corruption, economic mismanagement, and social repression are rampant within Iran. However, by relentlessly projecting the image of an external enemy, the regime effectively diverts public discontent and rallies support for its own survival. The regime thrives on a narrative of victimhood, portraying itself as a righteous defender of Islam against a hostile world. This carefully constructed facade masks a brutal reality of oppression and violence directed at its own citizens. Hardy meticulously exposes the hypocrisy at the heart of Iran's ideology, revealing a regime that instrumentalizes religion and nationalism to justify its own acts of terror and aggression. One of the most disturbing aspects of Iran's strategy, as meticulously documented by Hardy, is its masterful manipulation of narratives to manufacture enemies and fuel discord. The regime understands the power of identity politics and leverages it ruthlessly, tailoring its enemies to suit its needs. Whether it's demonizing the West as decadent and imperialistic, portraying Israel as an existential threat, or casting Sunni Muslims as heretics, Iran excels at creating a climate of fear and suspicion. This manipulation extends beyond geopolitical adversaries. Iran also targets its own citizens, particularly those who dare to challenge the regime's authority. Dissidents, journalists, and activists are routinely labeled as traitors and enemies of the state, subject to imprisonment, torture, and even execution. By silencing dissent and controlling the narrative, the regime ensures that its own version of events remains unchallenged. Hardy's book serves as a stark reminder that in the age of information warfare, truth itself has become a battleground. Central to Terror Inc. is the chilling exposé of Iran's vast and sophisticated proxy network, a shadowy web of terror that extends its reach across continents. Hardy meticulously documents how Iran leverages these proxies to wage its wars by other means, destabilizing entire regions and exporting its revolution. From the heavily armed Hezbollah in Lebanon to the brutal Shiite militias in Iraq, Iran's fingerprints can be found on countless acts of violence and terror. These proxies are not merely puppets. They are carefully chosen and cultivated, often bound to Iran through a shared ideology, religious affinity, or a history of oppression. Iran provides them with funding, training, weapons, and perhaps most importantly, a narrative that justifies their violence. This support allows them to operate with a degree of autonomy, giving Iran plausible deniability while advancing its strategic objectives. Hardy's analysis of Iran's proxy network is both alarming and essential, providing readers with a deeper understanding of the complex web of actors and motivations driving instability in the Middle East and beyond. Terror Inc. is more than just an exposé, it is a rallying cry for action. Hadi's unflinching analysis is a wake-up call for policymakers, security experts, and concerned citizens alike. The book challenges readers to confront the reality of state-sponsored terrorism and understand the true cost of inaction. Ignorance is not an option, and complacency is a dangerous luxury we can ill afford. Hadi argues that the first step towards combating this threat is to acknowledge it. We must move beyond the temptation to appease or downplay the danger posed by regimes like Iran. This requires a unified front, a commitment from the international community to stand together against those who seek to sow chaos and division. We must hold these regimes accountable for their actions and support those who stand in defiance of their tyranny. Terror Inc. is not merely a book, it is a weapon in the fight against state-sponsored terrorism. It is a call to action for all who value freedom, security, and the hope of a more peaceful world.